Hey, you curious bastards out there in the digital wilds. I'm Clif High, the grizzled old coot with a mop of hair that looks like it lost a fight with a windstorm, a half-built Proa sailboat rotting in my yard, and a stack of WebBot data that'd give the pencil pushers in DC a collective aneurysm if they ever bothered to read it. Today's April 15th, 2025. Tax day just rolled by, and if you're still licking envelopes for Uncle Sam, well, good luck with that, but I ain't here to yap about your paperwork woes. Nah, we're diving into something a hell of a lot juicier. Spaceships lighting up the Nevada sky like some cosmic fireworks show that nobody invited us to. Yesterday, I'm out back sanding a plank for my Proa. Gorgeous piece of cedar, smells like freedom, probably gonna sink like a stone if I don't get the balance right. When my phone buzzes, it's a buddy from Nevada, voice all shaky like he just saw Elvis rise from the grave. Clif, he says, I saw some weird lights over the desert last night. No drone, no shooting star, just something. I let out a dry chuckle, lean back on my workbench, and tell him, welcome to the real world, pal. Took you long enough. Didn't faze me one bit. I've been hip to this game since before half of you were born. But what about you lot? Ever caught a glimpse of something screwy up there in the big black? Lights darting around like they're late for a meeting? Shapes that don't match anything Boeing ever dreamed up? Drop it in the comments. I'm itching to hear your war stories, because I know I ain't the only one who's peeked behind the curtain. Today I'm dragging out the WebBot goodies, that freaky little program I slapped together back when the internet screeched like a dial-up banshee. I'll lay out this latest Nevada sighting, 3 glowing dots dancing over the desert like they're mocking us. And then I'll walk you through why I'd bet both my arms, my legs, and maybe a kidney that these off-world jokers, who I've taken to calling Elohim, and no, I ain't thumping a Bible here, have been kicking around this dirt ball since your great-great-grandpappy was figuring out how to sharpen a stick. This ain't some fairy tale I'm spinning. It's data, it's history, it's the kind of woo that'll make your head spin if you let it. So grab your coffee, settle in, maybe mute the damn dog barking next door, and let's get rolling. We're diving deep into the woo today, and I ain't holding back. First off, let's talk WebBot, because if you don't know what that is by now, you've been living under a rock, or maybe you just don't give it a damn, which is fine, but stick with me. Back in the early 2000s, I cobbled together this crazy-ass piece of software. Think of it like a digital bloodhound sniffing through the internet's underbelly. Forums like UFOfiles.com, weird little blogs from folks who'd rather talk to the stars than their neighbors, chat rooms where the tinfoil hat crowd swapped stories. It crawled it all, looking for patterns in how people talk, what they're scared of, what they're dreaming about. And guess what it kept tripping over? Phrases like unexplained lights in the sky, things hovering over the desert, something big's coming. I didn't plant that stuff in there. It's what you humans, all of you out there typing away, were leaking from your subconscious like some kind of psychic spill. WebBot just mopped it up and handed it to me on a platter. Fast forward to 2025 and the data's hitting a fever pitch. It's like the internet's screaming, look up, you idiots! And Nevada's right smack in the middle of it. Why Nevada? Well, it's got wide open deserts where you can see for miles, a bunch of military bases the feds swear are just for testing, and a history of weirdness that goes back decades. Case in point, April 10th, just 5 days ago, some campers, probably a mix of hippies and gearheads, set up near Area 51, that infamous sandbox where the government insists nothing funny's going on. Around midnight, they spot 3 glowing dots in the sky, arranged in a perfect triangle, moving smooth and silent like they're gliding on ice. No engine roar, no jet trails, no blinking lights like your average Cessna. Just pure, eerie quiet. They whip out their phones, hit record, and catch maybe 30 seconds of it before the thing zips off, or maybe cloaks itself, who knows. They post it online and bam, within 48 hours, it's everywhere. Twitter, Rumble, some sketchy Reddit threads, before it gets scrubbed. I ain't got the footage to shove in your face here, YouTube would have my head on a pike faster than you can say terms of service, but I saw it. And I'm telling you, it ain't some kid with a drone and a flashlight. It's the real deal, or damn close to it. Now let's get one thing straight. If you think UFOs are some trendy new thing, you're dumber than a bag of hammers. This crap's been going on forever. Take Roswell, 1947. Everybody knows the story by now. Something crashes in the New Mexico desert, bits of metal and maybe a few gray-skinned corpses scattered around, and the Air Force trots out a press release saying it's a weather balloon. A weather balloon? I've seen better lies from a toddler with cookie crumbs on his face. They backtracked later, said it was a spy balloon or some nonsense. But the damage was done. People saw through it. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Go back further. Way further. India, 10,000 years ago, cave walls covered with drawings of disc-shaped things hovering over stick-figure dudes. Sumerian texts ramble about Anunnaki dropping from the heavens. Egypt's got hieroglyphs that look suspiciously like flying saucers if you squint hard enough. I'm not saying every old scribble's a UFO blueprint, but you don't have to be a genius to connect the dots. They've been buzzing us since we were still figuring out fire. Who are they? Glad you asked, because I've got a odd name for them, Elohim. Yeah, it's a loaded word, pops up in ancient texts, gets the religious folks all twitchy. But I'm not here to preach or start a cult. I call them that because it keeps showing up in the data, both WebBot and the dusty old records I've poked through over the years. These ain't Kia, so don't get your panties in a twist. They're just a crew of off-worlders with tech so advanced it'd make our best engineers cry into their slide rules. Warp space-time? Check. Cloak a ship so it's invisible until they want you to see it? Check. Fly circles around our jets like we're still on horseback? Double check. Imagine you're them, zipping across galaxies, popping by Earth every few centuries. Would you land in the middle of a bunch of hairy apes banging rocks together and say, hey, let's be pals? Hell no. You'd park your ass in orbit, maybe send down a probe or two and watch the show. That's what I think they've been doing, watching, waiting, maybe laughing at us. Do the suits in power know? You bet your sweet bippy they do. Area 51's been Sanito their playground since at least the 50s, probably earlier if you buy the rumors. It's not a tourist trap, it's a vault for whatever they've salvaged from crashes or maybe traded for with some backroom deal we'll never hear about. Project Blue Book, remember that? The Air Force's half-assed attempt to investigate UFOs, only to shut it down in '69 and say, nothing to see here, folks. Bullshit. They've got filing cabinets stuffed with photos, radar logs, pilot testimonies, stuff that'd make your hair stand up if it ever saw daylight. I'm not telling you to take my word as gospel. Dig into the declassified docs yourself. Freedom of Information Act's your friend. But I'd wager they've known for decades and just don't want you asking pesky questions. This Nevada sighting, it's not a one-off. WebBot's been lighting up with this stuff for years. Peaks in 07, 13, 19, and now it's damn near off the charts in 25. People are seeing more, filming more, talking more. The camper's video isn't even the half of it. I've heard whispers of truckers spotting orbs on I-80, ranchers watching cattle freak out under hovering shadows. Even a pilot or two muttering about near misses they can't explain. The dam's cracking, folks. The feds can't keep slapping weather balloon labels on everything when every Tom, Dick, and Harry's got a smartphone and a YouTube account. I'm calling it now. 25 or 26. We hit a tipping point. Either they come clean or we force their hand. But here's where it gets woo, and you know I love the woo. This isn't just about shiny ships zipping around. WebBot's been picking up something else. Chatter about awakening, shift, eyes opening. Not some hippy-dippy meditation retreat nonsense. More like humanity's collective brain is starting to hum a new tune. Ever feel it? That nagging sense there's more out there, something tugging at you when you're staring at the stars. I've felt it since I was a kid, and I'm betting some of you have too. Maybe these Elohim jokers aren't just tourists. Maybe they're part of why we're waking up. Not saying they're beaming thoughts into our skulls, But their presence, their little flybys, might be the spark. Like a kid poking an anthill with a stick, just enough to stir us up, make us look around and go, wait a damn minute. Tell me in the comments if you felt that itch. I'm not crazy, or at least not the only one. All right, you stubborn lot, we're wrapping this circus up. Nevada's sky is popping off with UFOs. Webbot's been howling about it since I had less gray in my beard, and I'm telling you straight, they've been here, they're still here, and they ain't packing up anytime soon. This isn't some Hollywood blockbuster. It's data scraped from the internet's guts, history carved in stone, and a hefty dose of woo to rattle your cage. You don't have to swallow it whole, but at least crack an eyelid and peek at the sky once in a while instead of drooling over the idiot box. Here's your homework. If you're anywhere near Nevada, pack a camera. Your phone's fine, but don't count on signal out in the boonies. Learn the night sky, Orion, the Dippers, whatever. It's free, and it'll make you feel less like a clueless meatbag when the lights start dancing. And if one of those ships swings by, don't piss your pants, just wave. Who knows, maybe they've got a sense of humor and will flash you a peace sign. Tomorrow, I'm cracking open the Webbot vault again to yap about this awakening business. Why humanity's starting to blink awake and what that's got to do with our off-world neighbors. Don't skip it unless you'd rather stay snoozing in the dark like a good little sheep. Catch you then. Keep your head up and your bullshit detector on.